Mic check 1 2, it's the Y2K collector, and I heard someone say the other day that pickup videos are dead, and I was in the process of editing basically a pickup videos for April and the beginning of May, but I said, you know what? They really just want to see what I picked up. So I decided to cut out all the BS and just go to a classic format and show you guys everything that I've picked up over the last 2 to 3 weeks. This is going to be a rapid fire showing. And I'm kind of just showing these games because, even for me in 2026, sometimes I wonder, how easy it is, how feasible it is to pick up retro games, find retro games, good retro games at reasonable prices. And we're always questioning the viability of GameStop. Is GameStop retro still worth using to build a retro video game collection? Well, if I was starting to become an unbeliever, this month definitely made me a believer again because I picked up a whole lot of retro video games. Now, specifically within the last week. Why have you done this in the last week, Y2K? Well, it's because GameStop did a buy more, save more on all retro video games. So if you're a pro member, you were going to get 30% off when you bought 6 games or more, in addition to your pro member discount. So in a lot of cases, a lot of these games were coming in at an average of 33% off, 33 to 35% off, which in my opinion is great, especially when you're picking up a game that GameStop already has underpriced. So I picked up a huge lot of games. I'm going to show them all to you now. And then on top of that, I'm also going to kind of show you a little bit of a side deal that I did as well, which, is pretty ironic. So without wasting any time, let's just get into it. So I picked up 3 Switch games and I'm going to show you all of them at one time because we have a good amount of games to go through. So as a part of the buy more, spend more, I got these 3 Switch games and added them back into my collection because these are some of the games that I really enjoyed. I picked up Valfaris, even though I beat this game already. This is just a very fun run and gun shooter game, man. Like if you like Contra, you really like this game. Very interesting, very cool weapons in it. My favorite weapon is like this alien whip type of weapon, really cool. Picked up Streets of Rage 4 Anniversary Edition, primarily because this one did come with all of the good stuff. So it did have the keychain and everything like that, the booklet. So I did add that back to my collection. And then Metroid Dread, I don't really think that needs any explanation. Unfortunately, I traded my copy away before I could actually beat it. So this gives me an opportunity to go back and beat Metroid Dread. So these are 3 of the Switch games, the only 3 Switch games that I got during the promotion. Now I'll show you guys some of the handheld games that I picked up. So some really cool handheld titles we have here. So Super Street Fighter 2 for the original Game Boy. I did not have that in my original collection, so that was cool to add to the collection now. Rampage 2 was also a pretty sweet pickup. And then Kirby Nightmare in Dreamland. So this was the other Kirby game that I had in my old collection that I was glad to add back as well. So this one was an add to the collection there. Then we have Castlevania Adventure. Now GameStop had this one priced a little bit high. In my opinion, I don't really think this is a $19.99 game, but with all the discounts and everything, it wound up coming out to about 13 bucks, which is right around market. So this isn't like a crazy steal of a deal. But I needed to get it because I needed a 6th game to add to the purchase. And so I picked this one up. Not sure if I'm going to keep this copy or not, but I did go ahead and grab that. And then we have Tiny Toon Adventures 2 Montana. So this is a Game Boy game that I hadn't really seen at GameStop before. Konami, plays pretty cool. I have tried it a little bit. So this is one that I may keep as well. This was a really cheap purchase. This was like $7. So for me, I thought that was a really cool pickup. Then we have some NES action, so we'll get into that now. So we have a few NES games. These are all just kind of, some of these are just like staples, games that I probably would never pay regular price for, but because the average on a lot of these games was literally like $6, I went ahead and picked them up. So Fist of the North Star for the NES, a very interesting one. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the first one, and then Prisoners of War, which is actually a really interesting game on the NES. Picked these 3 up, and then also picked up Tiny Toons Adventures, DuckTales, which again, with all of the discounts and everything, this DuckTales game came in probably at around like 13 bucks or 15 bucks, somewhere in that neighborhood. So another really solid pickup there. Mario Bros, this is like 11 bucks. and then Joe and Mac. I can't remember what this wound up breaking down to, but like I said, a lot of these NES games are super cheap to begin with, and I picked up a good amount of them because you're not gonna see everything I picked up in this video. I'm just kind of showing you the highlights. But I would say the average price I paid for all of the NES games I picked up was like about $8, and I think I got some pretty solid titles. So these were the NES games that I picked up. Really stoked to snag all of these and rebuild the NES collection, so that was cool. Then we have some loose cart 4th gen stuff. So we had Contra Hard Corps. This was actually a very cool pickup. This was like a $24 pickup, so I wasn't mad at that. Obviously, I would love to have this complete in box, but for 24 bucks, I'm not gonna get mad. It was a decent copy, and I wanted to snag it at the price that they had it for. And then you have Doom for the Super Nintendo, loose cart. Again, this is like a $26 pickup, so really cool on both of these. These are usually like, I know Doom is usually like a $40 game. Contra, even loose cart, is like a $60 game. So these are really cool to pick these up at the discounted rate. Then we have some PS Vita stuff. I'll show you these 3 PS Vita games that we have here. So we had Tokyo Xanadu, Soul Sacrifice, and Mary Skelter. Mary Skelter came in at roughly like around 58 bucks. This is like a $100 game, or like a $90 to $100 game. So I thought that was a decent price on that. Soul Sacrifice is pretty cheap because this is already a cheap one. So I want to say Soul Sacrifice came out to like 8 or 10 bucks or something like that. And then Tokyo Xanadu, I can't remember what I got that for, but these were all, again, like 35% off. And in some cases, like, 40 to 45% off price charting. So really solid deals on the Vita there. I sold my entire Vita collection, so I needed to add and rebuild that. Then we have some 3DS stuff that I thought was pretty interesting to find. So I'll go through all 4 of these. 3DS, not a huge 3DS collector, but again, there were some games that I picked up because I needed to have 6 games in order to get the deal. So Sonic 3D Classics collection, this was actually a really interesting one. This was like 16 bucks. This what is this, Final Fantasy game? It's like a rhythm game. This actually wound up coming out to like $3. This isn't a very expensive game at all. I think it's like 15 bucks, but like for whatever, GameStop had it priced low, and then with all the discounts it came out to being like $3, so I wasn't mad at that. Mario and Luigi Dream Team, this came out to being like an $18 pickup, which isn't that far off of like market value, but this is a solid game nonetheless. And then you have Devil Survivor. This one wound up coming out to like 26 bucks or 28 bucks or something like that, so not too bad there as well. So these are the 3DS finds that I got. Again, all the stuff like this is complete in box, so these were complete in box games. Then this was a very random find. Found this at a GameStop. A complete in box copy of Jurassic Park. The box is toast, for sure. It's not the best box by any means, but I mean, it was a complete in box Genesis game, and it was like $6. So Jurassic Park is not a super expensive game. Even complete in box on the Genesis, this is like a $15 game. But to get it for $6, I thought that this was just really interesting to see, and it actually is pretty cool. It's a pretty cool one. So this was one that I was stoked to find. And then we're going to start to get into some of the heavy hitters on the N64. So these, I was really lucky. This is where the luck factor came in. I think you guys might have seen some of these, but I'll go through all these N64 games again anyway. So I asked the girl if she had any cartridge-based stuff. She looked through all the drawers and dug these up for me. So Mario Golf was in there. Mortal Kombat 4, which is super dope because I played this in the arcade back in the day. So that was cool to grab. Super Smash Bros, Chameleon Twist, and then Snowboard Kids 2, which was like a really cool pickup, and then a very clean copy of Majora's Mask. So all of these games came in with the promotional discount. They actually misprinted Majora's Mask. They had it listed as Link's Awakening, so this actually wound up becoming 26 bucks. Snowboard Kids 2 was like a $59 pickup. And everything else, like I said, wound up coming out to around 40% off, which for someone rebuilding their collection, it was a really good deal. It's hard to find games at a discounted price. The only really real way you're going to find stuff like this at anything lower than like 30% off is if you find them at a yard sale or something like that. And a lot of these were picked up like on a lunch break, in between, like in my day while running errands. So didn't really spend a lot of time hunting for these. These were just there when I got there. And so saved me a lot of time just being able to run in and grab these. So these were all really cool adds to the N64 collection. Like I said, I think I've shown some of these already. I may have shown some of these the day that I got them, but these were some really cool N64 finds. But all of these were purchased during the promo. Okay, and then we have this final stack here, which I'll get into, which is a GameCube stack. This was purely the luck of the draw. Like, I got super lucky with this stack of GameCube games, and I'm gonna go through them with you. It was just crazy how I walked in. So basically, real quick story, I walked into GameStop to return a bunch of games that I didn't want, like a lot of games. Because, you know, like I said, you gotta buy at least 6 to get the deal. And in those bundles, there was at least half of the bundle I didn't want. You know what I mean? So when I went into GameStop to return all the games that I didn't want, someone had literally just done a massive GameCube trade-in. So I was able to get all these GameCube games, one shot, pow, done. So we'll go through them now. Complete unboxed copy of Turok Evolution. We have Mega Man, X-Men Legends rather. A copy of Splatterhouse. Now again, all of these prices that you see here are not the price paid because of the promotional discount. So I think Turok wound up coming out to like $8 or $9. X-Men was like 12 to 13 bucks. This copy of Splatterhouse was really cool. It is complete. I do need to put it in a new case, but this one actually wound up coming out to like 26 bucks, which is really good. Splatterhouse on the 360, I think, is still like around 60 bucks. So that was a really cool find there. We had Crash Tag Team. Just assume that these prices are like 38% less than what you see here, so I don't have to keep stating the number. Crash Tag Team. We have Sonic Riders. All of these are complete in box, by the way. Sonic Heroes. We have Spider-Man 2. The Legend of Zelda, the promotional, the collector's edition with the promotional disc. Wind Waker. Kirby's Air Ride. We have Super Smash Bros. Melee. We have a very clean copy of Star Fox Assault. Man, that thing was like super clean. Shadow the Hedgehog. Custom Robo. I haven't found a Custom Robo complete in box in a while. Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. So that was like pretty wild to see. Ultimate Spider-Man. And then a couple of GameCube games that I've already done case swaps for because the cases were pretty bad. But we have Spider-Man and Sonic DX. So this was like a huge chunk of my old GameCube collection just found all in one shot. All in one shot, which I thought was just really sick. And I just thought it was ironic that literally in the last few hours of the sale, I ran into all these games. So it was a clean sweep. I ran the numbers while I was in the car, and this is roughly like $700 worth of GameCube games. And between the promotion, pro member discounts and everything like that, I wound up paying a little bit more than half of the value. So I think like I said, the value is like around 700. I wound up paying like 380 for everything that's here, which was just a really good deal. Again, now we'll go ahead and set those to the side, and I want to talk about just this kind of side deal that I did. This was pretty much not a Facebook Marketplace deal, but this was a deal that someone did with me. I've been working with them, super cool dude, and when I do make a video, I'll kind of talk a little bit more about it. But we did a deal where he sold me like pretty much his whole GameCube collection, and this is before I found all these GameCube games. So it's crazy. But anyway, in that bundle, he had a Game Boy player with the disc, which I have here. I still need to get my hands on a GameCube. I want to find a GameCube. I actually wound up utilizing that GameStop promo where you could sell consoles. So I sold the console and the controller, but I kept the Game Boy player and the disc because I will use this on a GameCube that I do get. So this was a cool piece of the collection. I'm not gonna go through all of the GameCube games like individually because a lot of them are the same ones that I picked up in that GameStop bundle, but the ones that he had that I didn't have in that lot, I'll show you. So Wario World was a part of that bundle. Mario Party 6. We had F-Zero GX was in that. We had Mario Party 5. We had Mario Party 7. We had Mario Party 4. And the last one that I did not have was Billy Hatcher. So a ton of GameCube this weekend, more GameCube than I really anticipated or really care for. You guys know I'm not a super GameCube head, but just being able to find all of these I thought was pretty sick, and getting them in the trade. So got a lot of GameCube added back to the collection just in 1 week. It's crazy how that worked out. But then there were some interesting other pieces that came in that lot that I took advantage of. One being Predator Concrete Jungle for the Xbox. So this was a really cool one that I got back. I was able to get from him. Actually had this on the PlayStation 2 before, but he had it in his collection and he was willing to sell it, so I took it from him. And then a couple of games that I had in my collection in the past, we have Silent Hill 4 and Silent Hill 3, both complete in box. Really clean copies there to add back to the PlayStation 2 collection. So these were really cool to see and find and snag those from him. And then something that I did not have in my GameCube collection before, which I thought was pretty interesting, and this is the Resident Evil 4 GameStop special edition. I didn't even know that this existed, but he had this, and I can open it. It does come with the game, of course, but then it comes with like a couple of extras in there as well, if I can do this with one hand. Yeah, so you've got like the take your game further, and then you have like a little card, and then there's like a certificate underneath that with the number on it as well. So I thought this was actually really cool and interesting to get. So that one was another really cool find. He also hit me off with a couple of really cool N64 games, one being Conker's Bad Fur Day. So this was cool to add back to the collection. I definitely had this in the collection before, so I was glad to add that back. And then a game I did not have, Bomberman 64, The Second Attack. So I'm into Bomberman games. I actually was playing Bomberman Saturn with the family the other day. It's an addictive game. Like, you wouldn't think it until you start playing it, and you're like, wow, I can see why this game is so addictive. It's just, once you start playing it, you want to keep playing it. It can become very competitive. It brings out competitive juices more than I think people realize. So this was actually a really cool one to add. Did not realize this game was so daggone expensive. $365 for this? Really? My God. So yeah, so this one was definitely cool to add. And then the last but not least, Kirby Dream Land 3. So this is actually a very cool one to add to the collection as well. Never really had Kirby's Dream Land 3 on my old Super Nintendo collection. So yeah, so it's a bit of a mess right now just with all of this stuff, but this was a very crazy and busy week. It's kind of gloomy today out here in SoCal. It's just like a kind of a gloomy, dingy day, which is perfect for me because this is a day of rest and recovery. Got a lot of sorting to do. I have a bunch of doubles, especially on the GameCube, so I'm clearly either gonna have to sell those or use them as trade bait. But all in all, just a crazy weekend. I may do a video showcasing just some of the in the field footage with a lot of this stuff, but like I said, I just kind of wanted to put this together and show you guys where I'm at with the collection rebuild. I know pickup videos, some people like pickup videos, some don't. Some like to see where you found it, some don't. But I figured I'd just kind of give you the raw of what is happening. Let me know what you think about some of these pickups. Did any of these titles stand out to you? And I'll catch you in the next one. It's the Y2K Collector. Take it easy.